Today we're going to turn this pile of spaghetti into something like this. So this is the original rear harness for the LandCruiser 79. So this basically goes from the back of the cab and does all your tail lights and whatever else down the back of the car. Now, why are we doing wiring? Well, we finally have a tray on the Cruiser. So I didn't really film any of this. It's kind of boring stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's interesting to you guys, but I didn't build the tray. I bought the tray. I paid 1,200 bucks for it, and it used to look like this. And then I've spent the last few days redoing the whole rear end to how I wanted it and to suit my lights. So we have the chimney lights in there. We got some steady reverse lights, and I just need to put some number plate lights in. But yeah, this is the tray. I also put the Frenchies mud guards on there, so I've just mounted them all up here. And then we still have a bit to go. We got to put under tray toolboxes and things like that. But for now, while the deck's off, I want to go and wire this thing completely up. Now, one thing that really pisses me off is when people build trays and canopies and shit like that, and they just don't think about the wiring at all. It does my head in, especially being a Sparky myself, trying to run wires, and you end up having to cable time to this shit because there's nowhere to put the wiring and no one's thought about it. So now, while it's like this, I'm gonna make the harness, run the harness, figure out where everything's gotta go and what needs power. And then I'll make holders for the wiring and find out where I'm gonna route it. So then when the tray is all done and painted, I can just cable tie it all on or run it through where it needs to go and it's done. So keeps it nice and neat, but yeah. Let's do that. So we'll start stripping this harness down. It may be boring, may be interesting, but I thought I'd make a video of it anyway. So we want to start off by completely stripping all the insulation off the old harness. Now, I did price a new one of these up and they're about $850, so I couldn't justify buying that. Now, usually you would take note of the locations of all of these mounts, but we don't need those anymore because it's all custom and we'll figure it all out ourselves. So essentially we just want to completely strip the insulation from the harness. I'm not going to be too concerned about the conduit either, because that is all going to be changed. We essentially just want the wiring and the plugs. That's all we really care about right now. And I am also going to be adding in a few wires for my TowPro, reverse camera, maybe a couple other power feeds, maybe those reverse lights, potentially some canopy lights as well. There's so much sand in this thing, look at this. It's like years and years of sand. And try our best not to damage any wires. It's completely snapped off the ground, so must have had some lighting issues. Okay, there is all the mess, a heap of dirt, heap of old tape and insulation, and then we have the stripped harness over here. So she looks pretty average. It's going to need a little bit of work, especially around the trailer plug area where they've teed in the trailer plug wiring. So I'm gonna have to fix all that up. And I also found a couple of broken wires that have been melted. So that one looks like to be for the park lights. So I'm gonna go through, check it all over, clean it all. There's gonna be a few spare wires that I'll be able to utilize for other things. Fuel sender and then your lighting. So we might have a few spare wires. There's always spare plugs on these Toyotas, and we can utilize those wires for other things, you know, to switch these on or something else. So now I'm just gonna go through and semi-neaten this up so we can work out where everything goes, which is left and right tail light. And then we'll go from there. Used to be, it's a little bit of a shambles, just like, that's sort of from the factory how they do that. These are also factory, they're like junction connectors, so that's like all of your park lights joined in one. So we'll just run one park light wire and then split them off. Same up here, another junction, the earth, same thing. So I'm just going to go and lay it in and try and figure out where everything goes. Now these go to the back of the cab, and what I figured out is on a GXL, this is for your diff locks. So this doesn't actually plug in, this is the only one that plugs into the cab. So I should be able to use all of these wires for something else. And they go to here. So I'm thinking that I can use probably this blue and red for my diff lock. So this is the plug here for the back of the cab, and on a GXL you'd usually have 2 plugs. So run through nice and neatly my camera cable, and also this is for my TowPro service brakes. I may be able to actually use some of these wires. I do have my diff lock wiring as well. I ran it through the old handbrake cable hole, but I think now, knowing that I have some spare wires, I reckon I will run it to here, and then I'll just put one big Deutsch plug and have all of those. So we'll have the normal tail light connector and then another Deutsch plug for all the other wires. So I've got it roughly where it's supposed to be from factory, running through here. I'm not sure where it goes here, but up this way you can see there's a tag here and there's one over there, so I'll jump up the top, keep running that through. So one of the wires I cut off was actually for the fuel sender, so I just dug that back out of the bin. Now this harness is supposed to run underneath this fuel filler, and then I don't know, from there down the back somewhere. But I think what I'm going to do is probably from this area somewhere, because the fuel fillers are the fuel senders here, so I think from this area I'm just going to go up and mount it on here instead of the chassis, because from this point backwards is all for the tail lights. So I think that's probably the best way to go moving forward. Now the only thing that will be on the chassis from this point will be the trailer plug wiring, but I'll work that out soon, of how I'm going to tee that in, where I'm going to tee it in, and where I'm going to run it. But I think from this point, like, I'll just run the fuel sender wires straight across, and then I'll just go up and run the rest of the harness along here. So we have it all run through in the factory spots now, the whole harness, right from the back of the cab and just here. So that's all factory spots here, there. Now I'm pretty sure, it's been a long time since I pulled this off, but I'm pretty sure this is supposed to go underneath and it comes off here, but I want to try and keep it as far away as possible from the exhaust. So we're going to run it over the top, and we'll just tie it onto this line here. Now this is the diff lock wiring that doesn't get used, so I'll work out what wires in here that I can actually use. The 2 bigger wires here would be perfect for a diff lock. Might run those for my diff lock, and then some of the smaller ones we can use for lights or whatever else. But it's just good to know we have 6 wires here that are going to be in the rest of the harness along to the back of the cab that we can utilize at some point. Alright, now we have this spaghetti to deal with. Look at the state of it. I'm going to work out what ones I need for the fuel sender, get them out of the way, and then we'll check out all the rest. So by the looks, we have a yellow with a red trace, which will be this one here. Okay, that's, oh yeah, righto. So on here it's a white with a black, which is always earth, and then we have the sender wire, which is the yellow with a red, and then on this little adapter plug it's changed to a brown, and we have both those wires here. So I'm just going to cut this bit of tape, pull this through, that's one wire, and then here is the other wire. So now we can come down here, cable tie that off there, and then we can bring it this way, and that is our fuel sender wires, and then the rest we can work out what is for what on the rear end. So these are all junction connectors. This is like, I think, red with a black reverse. I don't know why there's so many reverse lights teed in, but this is definitely tail lights. So this will do like your number plate lights and everything. Usually I think there's 2 on a cruiser, and then your left and right lights, but there's a little bit going on here. Then we have the earths, they're the white with the black trace, that's all earths. I don't know what these 2 wires here are for. Number plate light connectors, this is a tail light. So you have, I'm probably just going to cut all this right here and make my own harness. Because thinking right about here where they've made this first join, I'm just going to cut it all right here and start from scratch. Here it goes. There's no going back now. All of this spaghetti can go in the bin. Oh, look at it. Now we have a nice fresh harness to start with. There's no solder joins and crap. It's complete untouched wiring from the cab back to this point. Now I'm thinking we go along this beam here. That's the point that we go up, and then the fuel sender can run off here to the fuel sender, and that's that sorted. So I'm going to bang another cable tie around here somewhere for the time being. Okay, now we can work out the length that we need for this fuel sender. So roughly we can run it, you know, somewhere. We can put a little mount to secure this and then run it into here. I think we'll just chop it here somewhere. So now we want to work out what these wires actually do, because there is a few extras. So I'm going to get my test light around somewhere. So I've just got the park lights on, so now we'll just test for power on one of these wires. First one, there we go. Power. There may be 2 park light circuits here. Okay, so the first green here is park lights. Now we want to turn the hazard lights on. Now at the moment it's not going to matter whether it's left or right, we just want to work out what wires we actually need. So the hazard lights will work just fine. Okay, one of the indicators is this other green, and the other indicator is this other green. Just check all these again. Okay, that's weird, we have 3 indicator wires. What's going on here? It's potentially a short somewhere in the car. 1, 2, 3, and that was park. Okay, yeah, it's strange. We have 3 wires that are indicators, so there is possibly a short somewhere in the car. We'll leave them for now. We know we need all those. Now reverse lights, I'm sure it is red with a black trace, but we'll double check. So I'll go and put the key on and put it in reverse. Now when you're doing this, you want to turn the park lights and everything off so you don't get confused. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong? Surely not. Okay, we have no reverse lights. So we either have a blown fuse, unless it's one of these wires that was shorting. Alright, no reverse lights. Now we'll do brake lights. Alright, so with the brake lights, you just jam something on the pedal, between the seat and the pedal, and that has just fallen out. The ignition is still on. Oh, fuck me. I just noticed this. I wonder if this has something to do with no power to the reverse lights and stop tail. Probably does. No, so I fixed the test light and still no power, so I'm going to go and check for power to the fuses. So we have the interior fuse box panel pulled off here, and then we have the torch down here, so we can just check. I will check them all anyway, but we have a 15 amp stop tail down here, stop lights, and another stop. Should have a backup lights as well. Anyway, I'm just going to check them all. So how to check fuses: turn the ignition on, make sure the ignition's on so the fuses have power, connect your test light to ground, and then we will just go and check both sides of all the fuses. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is make sure no fuses are missing. We have no blown fuses, so we want to check the diagram here. What way does this diagram go? Okay, and then we come down to this row and we should have a spare, then we should have a 10. So now we'll go to the engine bay fuse box, see what we can find in there. But the brake light's not working and the fuse is okay, so obviously there's something going on. So I've just gone ahead and got the fuel sender wires joined up. Now I have crimped them, and believe it or not, these crimps are much better than a solder joint. I used to use these all the time on road trains, never had an issue. Solder them, heat shrink them, 2 weeks later you're fixing them. So these, personally, I think they are so much better as long as they're crimped properly. So you just want to ensure that you overlap the wires, you use the correct size, and you shrink it down properly as well. So these are all crimped, shrink down, and that is a joint. As you can see, they do this from the factory. This is the same sort of setup, it's just a metal crimp under here with some heat shrink put over the top. No solder joints at all. So that's how they do it from the factory. That's how I'm going to do it here. Nice and tight, watertight, never going to have an issue with that. So now we have the fuel sender wires joined up. Now once this is all complete, I think we could probably just secure it around here with a P-clamp and that'll be just fine. So now moving on to the rear harness. I did end up doing some more testing, and I don't know what I was doing before, but the brake lights are working. It's this white wire. So we have brake, we have the indicators, we have park lamps. The only thing that's not working is the reverse lights, but I know this red with the black is reverse. So I'm going to go ahead and wire it all up, and then I'll have to figure out what's going on with that at a later date. I did check all the fuses, they're all fine, so there's obviously something going on. I pulled the whole kick panel out of the car and checked at the kick panel, still no power. So yeah, something going on, maybe the reverse light switch or something like that, but we'll sort that out later. Okay, so we have some trailer core wire here, some 7 core. Now this is 7 core, 2.5mm rated to 6 amps. 2.5mm wire is so much easier to work with, and these LED lights are not going to draw anywhere near 6 amps. So it just makes it a lot easier doing joins, because you're not trying to join a 4mm wire or something. And I'm going to run this, tee it in, and that is going to go to the driver's side tail light. It's just going to go sort of underneath and plug into this Deutsch plug. But yeah, we'll work that out shortly. For now, we need to work on joining all these together. So we need, essentially we need 3 lots of these, because we need the right hand tail light, left hand tail light, and also the trailer plug. So I'm going to cut 3 lengths, roughly where I think they need to go, and then we'll join them all into here. Alright, let's go over what we got going on here, because it's changed a little bit since I last had the camera on. Anyway, so we have the harness here, everything is joined up. Now I've added this harness in here. Now this is for my resistor block, so that's got your left indicator, right indicator, earth and brake lights. Now instead of having the resistors down the back here, these messy little things mounted up here where they usually are, and they're just crap. They're going to be on a block somewhere on the chassis, and that is going to plug into it with the Deutsch plug. Now in this big mess here, we have everything joined in. We have reverse lights is black, red's brake lights, brown's park, yellow's left indicator, green right indicator. We have earth, and then we have these blue, black wires. So what I've done is I've figured out this blue with a white trace is a constant battery feed on a 30 amp fusible link in the cab in the left hand fuse box. So what I've done is the black wire is going to go to my trail plug pin 2, that'll be constant power, just to trickle charge like a battery or something like that. And then we have these two blue wires. I'm going to run these to each tail light, and I'll also probably add in an earth as well. So they're just going to be sitting there for, I don't know what I'm going to need them for, but it's just good to have a power source down the back here somewhere. I don't know if I need to plug a light in, whatever, then there's always going to be a power source I can use, and if I want to, I can add a switch and a relay in the cab, so then I don't have to run any more wiring. I know there's spare wires here. This other blue wire is going to a blue wire down here. Now this is also a spare. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but it runs into the cab, so that is going to be terminated with a Deutsch plug as well. Just got spare written on there. Now the earths, this is why I love these crimps, is because you can join all these wires in here, not have to try and solder them. Looks neat, watertight, easy to join. Anyway, so we have, what do we have here? We have the left and right tail light earths, and then I've upgraded the earth to the trailer plug to a 4mm wire, and that is because the Tow Pro will require a bigger wire than 2.5mm to operate. So usually you run like a 4 or 5mm throughout the car. So the big red wire here is going to go into pin 5 of the trail plug. That's the Tow Pro service brakes power feed, and I've actually teed that from the blue wire that used to go into this diff lock plug. I've got it joined in. I've got it joined in down here. So that is a sufficient enough wire for the electric brakes, and funny enough it's blue, which electric brakes is. So that is running from the front here. So yeah, that's service brakes, electric brakes. It's running from this plug that's not used, and this is my service brakes wire here that I've run through from the Tow Pro through the cab to this Deutsch plug. So I will join the blue wire into that, and that'll be that done. I don't have to run any more wires through here. Just keeps it, yeah, I guess nice and basic, saving on wire. Yeah, it works. So that's that. It's still a little bit confusing, but yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to keep going, get these run to each light and the trail plug. Okay, we are pretty well finished on the wiring side now. I've got it all ran, connected, the lights and everything are working. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where I'm going to put these mounts for the wires. The trailer plug wiring here. All this side here runs down. We have another earth here that I've just teed in. So we're going to run that to the tray. Fuel sender wiring, and then down here we have the factory diff lock plug. I've just changed that to a Deutsch plug. So that'll just mount up somewhere here, and that'll just be some spare wires. I also added in a bigger earth for if I wanted to run a diff lock. We got positive and negative here, which is sufficient enough wiring. Resistor block, that's going to go somewhere around here, I'm not sure yet, but that's the wires. And here's all the harness in the factory location, runs down to here. And what I've done here is, yeah, it's all factory harness here. There's an earth down here as well. But yeah, I've just put a 6-pin Deutsch plug on that factory diff lock harness. So I've just changed the plug so I can run all these into it. So I'll change this one to a 6-pin. That's the tow pro. It'll go to the blue wire. And then the red wire can be for a diff lock, and the other 4 can be spares. And then this is my camera cable that I'll just run down later. I'm not going to be able to put it in the harness unless I cut it and put a join there. So now I need to work out some locations on securing this harness. So I just been down to Bunnings and got some chain. Now it is galvanized chain, so I'm going to have to grind it. But basically, this is the way they do it on cat machines and things like that. We'll just cut a link out, put a little bend in it, and just weld it onto the tray there, and then cable tie the wiring to it. So I'll show you what that's going to look like. Alright, so we got our first 2 on there. We got one here and we got one over the other side here. So basically just a chain link. Now there's a tiny gap behind it, which you can slide a cable tie down, and then the wire will sit like this in there, nice and neat. And yeah, once that's secured with a cable tie, it won't go anywhere. Alright, so we got all the chain links welded onto the frame now, sort of evenly spaced between both sides. So that should be enough to secure all the harness. Getting carried away here, I started cable tying this on before turning the camera back on. But yeah, we'll keep going, get this side sorted, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So this is going to be the number plate light, which I don't have yet, and then this is our reverse lights. So just plug the reverse lights in, and I've put a little tag just to cable tie this up here, and then yeah, that should sort of sit. I don't know where this one's going to go yet. Maybe I'll put it down the bottom and then run the number plate light in. I'm not too sure yet, but we'll get this reverse light here sorted. Yeah, that should be alright. Now once this is all braided, it will obviously look a whole lot better and it will sit a lot nicer. But yeah, that'll do for now. Okay, I think we're pretty well done for now. So we've got everything mounted up. This is secure, reverse light secure. All the harness along here is all secure. Same on this side. All the same, secure. And along here, now I've found a spot for the spare plug here. There was a hole in the chassis, and I just put a M6 rib nut in there with a little screw. So yeah, that's nice and secure. And everything down there, same as before, all on the factory mounts down here. Just show you what these lights look like. Pretty cool. They look like a eye. I think they're called Evil Eye or something like that. But yeah, not bad. So now it'll be a matter of sending it off to get braided. It'll look something like this. This is a cat one, but it's obviously not going to be yellow, it's going to be black. So yeah, I'm going to pull it back out, send it off to get braided, and then once it's braided, we'll chuck it back in. Job done. Okay, here's the finished product. Huge thanks to Cameron at CJL Auto Electrics. They're in Perth, Waddle if anyone needs braiding done or auto electrical services. Cameron will sort you out. I sent him the harness and he received it, braided it, sent it back in the same day. So very good turnaround time. Here is our resistor block. So this will mount on the chassis somewhere, wherever I ended up putting it, and then we'll plug into here. 4-pin Deutsch plug. He's given us a few Deutsch plugs to try out, a few stickers, and here is the harness. So you can sort of choose any color you want. I thought I'd go with a little bit of a yellow in it just to break it up a little bit. I mean, you won't see it anyway. It'll be under the car. This thing should last a very, very long time. Won't have any problems with tape or conduit coming off. So yeah, this thing looks absolutely mint. As you can see, we don't have the Cruiser here anymore. It's away at a friend's place getting the tray finished off, so we're not going to be able to put this on today. That'll have to be in the next video. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.